All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Monday. Another beautiful week. Hold on. Got to turn on these lights back here. There we go. Why is that down there? Hold on. Bear with me. There we go. All right. Your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. That's right. That's right, NVIDIA. Thanks for everyone that showed up yesterday. Thanks for stopping by to the webinar. Over 1,000 people in there, and I think it would have been more, but we had a cap at 1,000. Maybe next time we'll send out like some private links to YouTube. I think that's the game plan next time. Send out some private links to a YouTube live stream, but sort of have it, where you have to register and it'll be sent out private. Yeah, great Monday quote. Yeah, we're getting noise. I see that. We're getting a little bit of... Let's move the cord a little bit. There we go. Just a quick cord move and we're all good to go. It's so weird. Interference somewhere, I guess. Yeah. A lot of... Just so you guys know, I know I talked about it yesterday, but $950 a month to get more than 1,000 people on a Zoom call, just so you guys know. $950 a month. To get 5,000 people, $2,500 a month. Think about that. That's insane. That's how much it is to get large quantities in a Zoom call. So that's just nuts. So we're definitely not paying that. That's not worth it to me. We'll definitely do maybe just a YouTube live stream with some kind of a registration. That'll be for the next time. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot of money. I mean, that doesn't seem worth it to me. All right. We're in the wrong business. That's right. Let's create a software where people can meet and just pay, charge insane amounts. All right, so Monday, August 18th. Today, definitely seeing a little bit of fading action. Just a little bit. Nothing that's too concerning yet, but we see a little bit of Bitcoin weakness this morning. SMH sort of led the weakness on Friday. A little bit of underperformance on NVIDIA, AMD, filling the gap on AMD as we talked about. A little bit of weakness on Palantir, which we were talking about, that gap fill on Palantir. So a lot of good things, a lot of clear sort of potential downside moves. Watching those small caps and those Bitcoins and the SMH a little bit today to make sure if there's any kind of weakness there, I want to be on top of it. So definitely keep an eyes on that. It's definitely an interesting day. We do have some decent economic data this week. We have Jackson Hole, if you guys remember, the weirdest name out of any event. Jackson Hole. Obviously, it's the name of where it's taken place, but interesting name. That's this week. Definitely some economic data to watch. So we'll have a pretty, I think, an opportunistic week, it seems right now. So let's see what happens. Market sort of failing the all-time highs to close last week. Does it warrant some type of a pullback to the daily 20, right? Another cool off. Definitely some things to watch. So let's create our levels. Let's prepare. Jocko, appreciate that, Jocko. 39 months. Man. Let's go, man. 3 years, over 3 years supporting the live stream. Isn't that crazy? That we have showed up every day for over the last 3 years. Oh man, that's sort of weird to think about. That's a lot of It's a lot of hours. A lot of hours for free on YouTube, huh? All right. Hopefully it pays off long term for me, man. Hopefully, just keep a great community, keep a loyal group of people, and hopefully we all just continue to succeed together. That's the goal. So, with that said, press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. All right. So today, let me turn this light on. It's a little dark in here. Get that light going. Get the mic pulled up over here. Oh, shoot. I forgot to plug in my mic. I forgot to plug in my mouse. Let me plug in my mouse real quick before it dies. Okay. Think we're good there. All right. Let's pull everything over here. Oh, Jay Price. What's up, Jay? That's right. It's my boy Jay Price right there. Jocko, appreciate that. Jay Price, appreciate that. Thank you, brother. Do I want to turn off these lights in the back of your face? Hold on. Before we start this up. Hold on. Turn that off. Turn that off. There we go. All right, here we go. So first things first, let's pull up the economic calendar and make sure to get your attendance in, guys. Email went out this morning for the hat to our winner last week. So make sure to get your attendance form filled out so that you guys have a chance to win this week. All right. Let me pull this up. Here's our data this week. I'll go ahead and include the orange and the red, but really the red are the most important. But you guys can see right here, this week, not much to start the week. Monday, Tuesday, today, nothing really important. Let's just pull in them all just so we make sure we don't miss anything. Today, yeah, not much there. Tuesday, tomorrow, building permits, housing starts. Nothing really to worry about. Wednesday, FOMC minutes. Not really something to be that concerned about. FOMC minutes typically doesn't move the needle. Now, of course, if something different is talked about there, then that could be something to watch out for. 1 second, guys. Gotta check this message. Okay. So maybe FOMC minutes. Obviously, we just watch price action. So 2 o'clock on Wednesday. Let's just be aware of that going on. That's all. I don't expect it to be anything wild, but still something to be aware of. Thursday this week, unemployment claims, manufacturing PMI, Jackson Hole starting. You guys can see right here on Thursday, and then Powell is speaking at Jackson Hole on Friday at 10 a.m. So some things to watch. Nothing wild, but yeah, that's really it for this week. Let me go ahead and pull up the earnings. Do we have any major earnings this week? I didn't get a chance to look yet. So I'll pop over to the earnings whisper and see if there's anything to be paying attention to. All right, so we got Home Depot. We got some retail, it looks like. Yeah, we got a little bit of retail here. So we got Palo Alto, PANW, Home Depot, retail, Target, retail, Walmart, retail. Oh, look at this. Zoom. Zoom. Ross, stress for less. Who's long Ross? Anyone? BJ's. Who's long BJ's? Yeah, nothing major here, guys. Nothing major. Nothing I'm really looking to trade or do anything on, but some retailers. That's really it. Just to be aware of some retail names, right? Home Depot, Target, Walmart, 3 big retailers for to maybe get a read on the consumer. So could be interesting to see what those come out with. TJX as well. All right. So that's that. Let's get into our charts. Before we do that, Dyron, I'm pretty sure you pronounce it Dyron. Shout out Dyron. Dyron came up to me at the Naples Car Show. Dyron, if you're here, shoot me a DM if you're not a member. Well, I want to see if you're here. I got your DMs open on Instagram. Dyron, appreciate the support, man. pretty cool seeing some of you guys recognize me out in the wild. So pretty cool. Appreciate the support. And if you ever see me, guys, out there, make sure to come up to me because I love it. And you'll realize how, normal of a person I am. I'm not a weirdo in person. Come up to me. Come say hi. Dyron, appreciate you coming to say hi. And welcome to Naples, man. So that's that. Let's continue. NASDAQ futures. All right. So we are starting to see some lower high action here, which I'm starting to get a little bit, aware of. So you guys can see right here, Friday, we turned Wednesday's lows into rejections. See this right here? Wednesday's lows, 23,885. That was this low that came in all of Wednesday, and you can see it failed right here. Failure, right? So that's telling. That's a zone, right? That's a zone that I want to watch. 23,885, 23,845 is what? That's the previous all-time high. So guess what? You are trading back under the previous all-time high on the NASDAQ futures, right? Right here. On this little high right here, that was the high from Meta and Microsoft earnings. If you guys remember this, this was that Meta Microsoft FOMC move where we basically went straight up. That high was 23,845. And you guys can see we are now under that. So there's a little bit of concern there, right? Because if we try to trade back into that, do we fail it again? Do we start to fail below this previous all-time high level that was sort of printed on Meta Microsoft earnings? I'm a little bit cautious of that, right? There's definitely some reason to be aware that we are now failing back below those levels, which is 23,845 and then this Wednesday low 23,885. This zone to me is now a potential lower high failure point. So something to be aware of there. We are also under the CPI highs, right? So to add in another thing, you are now under this Thursday low, this CPI high, right? You're under the PPI low and the CPI high right here, which is right around that 825, 830 area. So you're breaking some pretty important levels here. Now, really, the last level to hold on is this Friday low a day. If we break below this 23,730 today, I don't see why you don't go straight down into 617 again, right? Right here. 23,823, yeah, so right in there. 23,823, yep, that's your CPI high. It's all, right up in here is definitely a potential higher low or lower high failure point, for sure. So if you trade back into those today, guys, please be careful. You would be trading back into CPI highs, back into previous all-time highs, and then back into this very key Wednesday low that turned into rejections in the pre-market, right, in the after-hour session here. So anything north from this current point is definitely to be cautious of. I'll talk about what you need to see for upside in just a second. But for now, right, beware of this low here at 730. If we break this 730, that's this Friday low, I don't see anything right here that's going to hold up this market. Right? I would say you're going to move right down into here and look for that pullback to 617. Pullback to 617 would also be a pullback towards that daily 20 SMA. So this could be a healthy pullback. It's not a bearish pullback. As long as the market's above the daily 20, there's nothing bearish about the market. But you have to sort of be able to spot when things start to cool off. And that's possibly starting to happen slightly here. Now, here's what you need to see for upside today. I would say you need to see a very strong hold here at this Friday low, where basically the bulls say, no, I'm not breaking this low. We're going back higher, right? Hold this double bottom low right here, and then reclaim, I would say, back above this Wednesday low right here. I would need to reclaim back above this overnight high, right? Anything south of the overnight high here on the futures, to me, is not a long. It's not. Especially because you're in a downtrend. We're in a short-term downtrend, but you are in a downtrend nonetheless, right? So when you're in a downtrend like this, you need to see reclaims happen. You need to see something change. So for me, I don't think I would long this low. For me, I wouldn't long this double bottom low. I would long after you see this, right? This would be my long. Because that would be a break above that rejection point, a reclaim of these lows, a break of the downtrend, right? That would be multiple reasons, multiple confluences to look for the long opportunity back towards the highs. That would be right here, 23,885. Without that, I think you're just longing into a downtrend. And that has not worked for the last 3 trading days. And I don't think you just think today it's going to work. All right? That doesn't make sense. So don't like the longs where we're currently sitting. Even though we are in demand, I don't think it gives you a reason to long. It doesn't give you a reclaim hold. It doesn't give you a breakout. It doesn't give you anything. You're just trying to hope that this level holds. And the price action isn't really showing you that, right? Where's the price action that's showing you this is holding or looking like it's going to be a long? It is showing you it's holding, but it's not looking very exciting, right? It's not looking like it's ready to go higher. So what I need is a reclaim. That's what I need during downtrends to look for that long. Now, of course, I still think this is a nice pullback for the market in the grand scheme of things, right? Bullish market, long-term uptrend. You don't just start looking for this market to top, but you can't be longing during short-term pullbacks, right? That's where you get crushed. So short-term pullback's good. Let's see where it sort of develops. If you break Friday's low, you're going here to 617, which could be a great pullback as the daily 20 catches up, and maybe that creates the next long down here. Okay? Pretty damn clear today. QQQ, very similar read here. QQQ, you are back under all-time highs. You are back under CPI highs. CPI high is 577.24. All-time highs, 577, right? So you are trading back under that. You can see right here, the previous all-time high was right here at the wick of 577, right there, bam, rejected here, bam, held here on Thursday, and you are now trading under it. So what does that tell me? You are now failing back below the CPI high, the PPI low, the previous all-time high. That's not good, okay? So right now, I don't really think you'd want to long back into that 577 spot. There is a nice demand here at this Friday low. It's not really that strong, but it is definitely a level you don't want to be short. There's no reason to say, hey, the market opened, I'm short into Friday's lows. That's a great trade. No, it's not. It's a terrible trade. So not really interested in that. What does that tell me? This is a no trade zone today, right? This is where a lot of shit happens here. Friday lows, previous all-time highs. You got about 1.5 points in here to get totally messed up. Wouldn't trade in it. I would wait for the Qs to get back over 577, possibly for a little reclaim ripper, right? Or I would look for the Qs to get under Friday's lows and trade that down into our 572 demand, right? To give back this straight up move here on CPI, which could be very nice. So there's really only 2 trades today. There's no trade where we're currently trading, okay? There's no trade where we're currently trading. This is not a trade back into this CPI high and this Thursday low and this all-time high, 577. That's not a long. It's not a short into Friday's low a day. So guess what? It's not a trade. It's called patience, right? Can you believe it? There's a word called patience. If you break back over CPI high and all-time highs, 577, I don't mind. There's a potential rip up to 579.20. This is really where I'd like to see a break, but you could get a little bit of juice back over that 577. But ideally, you want this over 579.20, which is that Wednesday low and that NASDAQ level we just talked about, right? Which would be the breakout of the downtrend, which would be the real reclaim to be looking for, right? That would be over that 579 right here, right? You get a nice pop, reclaim, hold, bam, straight up. That would be a nice trade. But there's a little bit of a narrower trade, but, you know, that depends on how nanosecond you want to get. How cute do you want to get? That's up to you. You know, you could delete this level and just say, I'm not interested between this larger channel, right? That could be a right call. I'm not interested between Friday's action. I'm not interested in here. This is not an interesting trade for me. I want to see a reclaim of 579. I want to see a break under Friday's lows. That's nice. I like that idea. That's up to you. That is up to you to make that thesis, okay? S&P 500 futures, you are holding previous all-time highs, and that's a reason to be cautious on the downside today, right? Previous all-time highs, 64.60 on the S&P 500 futures, and the PPI lows at 64.53 is the exact low. You can see right here that the ES is still holding that level, right? Look at this right here, 64.53, PPI lows, previous all-time high, 64.60. Look at what's happening. You're still holding above it. So there's really no reason to be short into all-time highs, right? That doesn't make sense. Why short back into this previous all-time high that held on Thursday, that's holding again this morning? So that doesn't make sense yet. We'll have to see if it breaks. If it breaks, then it could make sense, right? That's something that a lot of short-minded people don't understand, is that you can look for reactions intraday, right? If this breaks under the PPI low, then you're going to see downside, right? That's something you have to stay open to. Now, for me, I think you would trade down to 64.30, in all honesty. There is a little bit of a spot that could be tricky, but I think underneath PPI lows here at 53, I don't see why you wouldn't trade down to 30. I think you would give back this whole move right here, personally. But there is a little bit of a CPI high right at 64.42 that could be a little bit tricky, right? That could get a little tricky. So I wouldn't, I don't mind putting a level here. When I zoom out, I really think you should trade down to 30. That's what I think you should do. Now, what you should do and what you do is two different things. But I think this is a nice 20-point range here on the ES to look for shorts. Now, the problem with that short, like I said, is you'd be short back into CPI highs at 42, which is a little bit, it could be nasty, right? It could be nasty. It could hold there. So, got to be aware of that. Overall, the S&P 500 is in a very distinct channel here. You have the PPI highs and the PPI lows, and guys, you are just trading within that range, right? Look at this. PPI rejection, PPI low a day. You are just trading within that range. Exactly within that range. So nothing has happened, and there is no reason to be like, I'm all in at the open today. Like, it just doesn't make sense. You are trading within the same range that you traded between both Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of last week. You are in the exact same range. So you probably want something to happen before you start risking your portfolio today. So 64.53 lows, 64.92 highs, even up, down into this 85 rejection area, but still that PPI high is very heavy up at the 6500s. You're sideways. You're sideways, and you're sitting at key demand today to start the day. SPY, pretty much the same thing. You can see PPI highs and PPI lows, which also lines up with the all-time high, and you can see we are just completely pinned between those two levels. So 641.57 is previous all-time high. PPI highs and major supply here is at 645. And guess what? You are sitting right in the same channel that you traded on Friday, that you traded on Thursday, and that you traded on Wednesday. You have gone nowhere. So what does that mean? It means to lower your expectations this morning, right? Yeah, we're all excited to trade this morning. We're all excited to get some, make some money. But guess what? That is where you lose your money, because you are trading inside of a range that is not doing anything on the market. You're not going to look back at today and say, holy crap, I missed such a great opportunity if you stayed sideways all day, okay? We talk about this all the time. You're not going to look back and say, wow, I can't believe I didn't trade today, and the market stayed within this range again. So have some patience and look for these levels to break, right? Above 645, below the all-time high. If you want to just simply set those alerts today and say, hey, I'm going to practice some patience today, I'm not going to trade within the range from last week. If we break below it, I'll look for the short side. If we break above it, I'll look for the potential upside. If we don't do anything, good riddance. I'll be out enjoying my day, right? Very easy. Or if it doesn't happen by 12 o'clock, doesn't happen by 1 o'clock, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the rest of my day. That's it, right? A little bit of self-control, guys. It's possible. Trust me. All right, so before we move on, we need to get a like button vibe check. We are at 900 likes, 2,600 people. We need to press the like button here, folks. Press the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram, follow me on X. Go sign up for the attendance form down below. We're doing a secret word. I don't think it's on there today, but I'm going to get that worked on this week. We're going to be doing a secret word. So you're going to have to find the secret word. It's going to pop up on the middle of the live stream at random spots. So if you guys are seriously watching this every day, you'll see it. It'll be very obvious. But those that pop in, sign in, and then pop out, they won't find it. So like button vibe check. Press the like button. All right. So under SPY, all-time highs, we are going, in my opinion, to 639. Now, like I said, there's a little bit of a, cautionary spot here. CPI highs is 640. So I would be maybe a little bit cautious there just because, right, that is the CPI high. That could be a little bit of a cautionary spot. We have over 1,000 Jackson holes not pressing the like button. Love it. Love it, Margin. Love it. So 640, right? That's the the secret word is Zin. That's right. Love it. It probably will be Zin one day. Probably not today, but maybe one day. 640, right? CPI highs might be a little bit of a cautionary spot, but I do like it to give back this straight up move if we break back under all-time highs. If not, you're staying within this channel. If you get over 645, then maybe you're going to see a little bit of upside towards this 647, all right? All right. SMH leading the weakness. This is a caution. This is a little bit of a caution, right? What did we talk about on the SMH? All right, what did we talk about on the SMH last week? We said if this thing does not hold 297, there could be some signs of weakness. Now look at what we're doing here, folks. We're doing exactly what we talked about. Previous highs right here. Bam, bam, turning into lows. Look at this. Bam. That is a perfect break and retest, rejection. That is a rejection, guys. That is a failure back under these highs. That is something to watch. That is something to pay attention to. Now, that doesn't mean I am short my whole portfolio today because Desi said the SMH is weak, and then send me an email and, maybe ask for a lifetime membership refund 6 months after joining. That's not what that means. 297, 298, right here. Rejection, rejection, rejection. That area is definitely something to watch. But guess what? You're still holding 292. All right, you're still holding 292. And 292 and the daily 20 SMA could absolutely be a bounce spot. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. So this could just be a short-term cool-off down to the daily 20, which then turns into the best long opportunity. So you need to be careful there. This is a very, tight operation here. You can't just be loosely short into the daily 20. That doesn't make sense. So if I'm going to look for downside on semis, I need to get an entry point up here at 297, right? And then fade it into 292. And then I need to be profit taking at 292. And I need to be exiting shorts there. If you break 292 in the daily 20, then I can reestablish a short to 289, right? So something to watch there. Definitely getting a little bit interesting on the semis. Bitcoin leading some more weakness. Bitcoin did not hold the daily 20. It did not hold the 118 level, right? Right here. Look at that weakness right there. Failing daily 20. Failing 118. We moved lower now into our 113.80. I'm just going to say 113.80. I know you guys see it's 113,800, but I'm not, I can't say that whole word out and still get this live stream going quick. So 113.8, that's what we're going to say. Here's your lows, 50 SMA. That's a big spot there. I would pay attention to that. Bitcoin can bounce off that daily 50, but the fact that you failed back under this 118 is sort of concerning, I guess you could say, right? This could turn into a lower high rejection at the daily 20 at these previous lows. So something to pay attention to there. And we're definitely seeing weakness on coin. We're definitely seeing weakness on MSTR. We're seeing some weakness on some crypto names. BMNR is a top watch for me downside today, watching that. Circle could be another fader, right? So watching some of these crypto names today to see how they react. All right, let's jump into Tesla. Tesla is back at our major demand spot. This is going to be an interesting spot to pay attention to here. So Tesla back at Ty. Appreciate that, Ty. Tesla is back at our daily 200 SMA. Look at this right here. Daily 200, 328 demand. Big spot here, guys. Tesla either finds its low here and starts to find reclaims and moves back higher, or Tesla is going to fill in this straight up move from last Friday, 2 Fridays ago. That would be down into 323. That would be down into the daily 20 SMA. So if we break under 328 today and we fail the daily 200, I think you have a short down into 323 and the daily 20 SMA, which would give back this straight up move. Very possible. Now, what you're looking for longs, it's a very, very clean thing to look for longs here. The long is right here. It's over 334. It's not at these lows. It's not at these lows. It's a long on a reclaim over 334. It's right here. If you see this hold back above 334, this rejection, these lows, if you start to establish a new low here, that's your long. Okay? That is the long that stops you from longing a low in a downtrend. We need to stop longing lows in downtrends. It's not a good trade. It's possible to be very aggressive and get the exact low, but you don't need to get the exact low if you get a reclaim over this 334. That's a major high, major low, major low, major low, major rejection, major rejection. You get a hold over that, you are comfortably long for that breakout move. Maybe up until like at least 338 into 342, right? And you trade this level to level, okay? So for me, possibly some downside to 323 today. I'll be watching 334. I'm going to put an alert under the daily 200 today to make sure I know if it's breaking below that. Okay? Sonia. Thank you, Sonia. Money moving out of tech. A little bit early to say, Fred. You're seeing a little bit of signs, but it's too early, man. We can't jump to any conclusions here yet. Pullbacks are still good on this market. We're still above the daily 20 on tech, right? I'm not ready to start calling, some red flags out there, but you are, as you've been watching the live stream, you can see there's some signs of some giving back. So let's just keep watching it. Monday's a day for data analysis, data collection, right? Let's see what Monday brings. NVIDIA, 179, major low. Here's the problem with NVIDIA. I really don't think I could trade this short. It's too close to this daily 20. And I just don't want to get... This is where people get faked out right here. And people did get faked out on Friday, right? Anyone that was short under that very clear 179 into the daily 20 got manhandled, right? I don't want to get manhandled on a Monday. So 179 to the daily 20, it's just not a good trade for me. I'm not interested in it. NVIDIA is too strong of a stock to short into the daily 20. It's too short. It's too strong, right? So I'm probably going to leave this one alone today. This has been a terrible trade. It's been a terrible trade. And so I'll probably just leave this one alone. But please watch out for the daily 20 if you are short. That is my only concern to you. Do not get that aggressive short on NVIDIA into the daily 20. Okay. AMD. Gorgeous. I mean, textbook, exactly what we talked about. Failing under 180 for the gap fill trade into 175. It did exactly that. This is a gorgeous move. Gorgeous. Spot on. Right? We talked about this gap. We talked about the potential of it filling. It's done exactly that. And now you're back at the key demand. So now the question is, do you hold this 174, 175 zone for a new low and a new long opportunity? That's the question now. We'll see, right? Because SMH is leading some weakness, so I'm not sure if I'm ready to say that yet, but this is a good spot that AMD is trading back into. It did fill the gap, which is spot on. 174, 175 is the spot to watch. If you hold that, there could be some interest back to the upside. But what you need, right? Like we talked about, what do you need to look long? You need a reclaim over 180. So I'm not interested in longing this low. I'm interested in looking to see if this low holds and then looking to long on a hold over 180. If that happens, then guess what? You're on another huge breakout move. And that would be a major watch this week. But to be determined. If you break under 174, you're going to the daily 20. And that could be maybe interesting on the short side. Maybe. We'll have to see what it looks like. That could be a little bit tricky as well. This little area right here. But under 174, I think you probably see a little bit more slippage. I think pretty much the easiest fade today, if we do see SMH weakness, is right here on MU. This is very clean. Previous lows, turning into highs. Break, retest, rejection. If you reject 121.50 today and SMH is weak, I think you trade down into this daily 50 at 117. That would be something I watch today. You can see MU has been very nice on the structure lower move, right? Here's your highs, right? You have previous highs turning into rejections. Previous low, turning into rejections. So looking to see if this follows again today. If you fail under 121.50 today, I would look for shorts in the 117 area. Something I'm watching there a little bit. All right. Apple, looking to see what happens on Apple 230 today. Apple's been putting in some pretty ugly wick failures up here that I'm probably getting a little bit uninterested in being long at this point. Right, you can see failing, major fails up at 236. That's been our supply and our target level for the last few weeks. It got exactly there, and it's starting to see some failures. Apple needs to hold, in my opinion, 230. If we fail below 230 and see rejections below it, I think you trade back into 227. So going to watch that 230 on Apple a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and set an alert there to see what happens if we get below that. Amazon likely needs a pullback to 226.50 at this point. That's the right move to happen here. You are rejecting at our exact 234 level, which has been our spot on supply. You get above that, you go 240. But I would say the proper move is this, right? Back down to the daily 20 at 226.50. So you could look to short it into that level if you so please. Over 234 is definitely a watch for me today. Meta, yeah, a little bit interesting on Meta. I have a slight swing trade with 2 contracts. Looks like I might be down on that this morning. I'm gonna try to hold on to it a little bit. This 780, this 773 zone is interesting to see if Meta can turn some of these previous highs right here into new lows, which it did do right here on Thursday of last week. So I'm going to watch to see if Meta can try to hold up this 780 zone. It's sort of too sideways to really get a good read for me at this point. So we'll see. If it doesn't do anything pretty much immediately today off the 780, I might just ditch it and move on. Not really in love with Meta here. 773, 780. Wanted to see us hold over that 780, and you can see we're sort of failing it right now. So watching 780 a little bit today to see if that's something that shows up. Google, don't really have a great read here on Google. I really just am watching these previous highs here, 205.40. See these 205.40 rejections? You are right up into all-time high. It's just sort of been grinding. Really don't see any type of strong volatility to trade here at the moment, to be honest. But I'm going to just watch to see if Google fails below these highs again. Here, 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 and here. If it fails below those highs again, this could be another fading move. If it holds above it today, then let's look for that upside. So, interesting spot there on Google. Let's go to UNH real quick. UNH, the really big UNH trade comes in over 327, just so you guys know, right? This is the 4-hour chart. 327 is this high, this high, this high. Greg, appreciate that, Greg. Thanks for being a supporter. Welcome to the streams. 327, you guys see right here. 1, 2, 3. Major rejection. Over 327, the games begin. All right, the games begin over 327. Right now, you're in a very interesting zone. You're sort of right in the center of this channel, which is sort of hard to read. I think there's a little bit of a 308 sort of pivot in the middle of this area, and you can see here on the short term, you can see 308 sort of showing up here. So I'm going to watch that 308 today to see if maybe there's a long off of it today. Or if there's, I'm probably not going to short UNH because I think it has some strength behind it. So not really interested in the short side, but a pullback long maybe at 308 today on UNH could be interesting. Target 327. Over 327, you can really get going. So keep an eye on UNH. Yeah, Palantir, this was one of our shorts over from Thursday into Friday, which ended up being an awesome trade. We got out of that with great profit, which is awesome. Now today, all right, you're stair-stepping, guys. And we, if you follow me on X, we called this out. We said it's time to look to fade Palantir, the back half of the move. Now, it's something to understand, right? Palantir is not a bad stock. It's not weak now. It's not shit. It's just a little pullback, right? And it's very easy to sort of start to notice. You have a huge push on earnings, all right? You're starting to see the failure to move higher. You had a huge push. You're getting failures to move higher. You got this daily candle on Thursday last week, and you definitely saw, hey, it's probably time to, de-risk some longs. And it's just sort of moving with the flow of the market without bias. That's all it is. It was very easy to read that Palantir was starting to lose a little bit of strength, right? This move on Wednesday, failing to move higher through that 190 high. This Thursday move failing again, right? Very clear. So now today, if you stay under 176, which is that Friday low, if you turn that into rejection, I don't see why you wouldn't trade to this gap level, right? Which is 169 and is the daily 20 SMA. That is definitely a target of mine today. This is probably my top watch today. Palantir to fade 176 is definitely my top watch. Keep an eye on this very closely. Now, if you go to the daily chart, you can see that 169 level is not the gap level. That's just where the gap starts, right? So you can see right here, 169.22 is where the gap starts. Below that, you have a gap to fill to 162, All right, so there is a big gap right here, folks. Now, the only problem with that is you have the daily 20 sitting right there, which could be very dangerous. All right, you could definitely see the daily 20 hold this up. So, regardless, great watch. 169.22, 162, 176. Let's see if those rejections come in today. Let's see if you get a little pop and fade, 176 in that Friday low. You did have, actually, the Friday low really was down here at 173.38. So I will be a little bit careful with that, actually. But you saw the majority of those lows come in, right, or those holds come in around 176. So I'm going to look to see if that fails again. So watching that 173.38 low. All right. Sonia. Oh, I already said thank you to Sonia. Sonia, actually, no, I didn't. Did I? Yeah, I did. Sonia, thank you again. What are the things that I want to look at today? I wanted to quickly look at a few more. Let me go through quick here. I actually do want to look at FIG. But let me go speed around here. If Palantir fades, I think you could see fades on Hood, especially with crypto weakness this morning. I will be watching 111 today. If Hood breaks under 111, I will be watching that right here, 111, keeping eyes on that. BMNR, if we fade under 54, I am interested in downside on this as well. You can see right here, 54 is a major low. Below that, you have nothing to 44. Watching 54 on BMNR. Coinbase looking slightly weak. We'll see if crypto continues to be weak today, but Coinbase underneath now major previous lows. You can see right here, major previous lows. We are now trading below that. If this turns into failures, I could see downside. Keeping eyes on that today. FIG, which is that big IPO, it's holding the level it has to hold. It's holding the It's holding the lows. These are all-time lows, right? So this low right here is 76.65, and you can see it's holding exactly 76.65, really 76. So yeah, probably not worth shorting FIG into 76, but yeah, I mean, if it starts to weaken below it, that could be a little bit interesting. This is the day of the IPO. The low was 84.11, so you could watch that, see what it does there. Sort of just stuck between that area, so not too interesting there. Yeah, last one, Reddit's been interesting. Reddit possibly failing its sort of structuring move, so 245 would be the level I'd watch today. Does Reddit fail 245? It needs to hold 245. All right, guys, that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. I hope you enjoyed the education and the levels. You guys can see here, NASDAQ futures holding our Friday low a day. S&P 500 still holding above the PPI low and all-time highs. So that is not a short. We'll have to be careful of that level to start the day. We are opening today at demand, okay? We are opening the day at key demand on the S&P and NASDAQ futures. Press that like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you want to stay tuned for more. If you want to join us in the Discord and the live trading, make sure to check out the links down below. If you want to get on the wait list for our August launch of the mentorship group, and you just want to learn more about it, right? There's no commitment there. You just want to say, hey, I'm interested in learning more what this is all about. You can put your name on the wait list down below. All right? That's that. Press that like button, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace and love.